กันรับ
Hello, my little dots. Are you ready for a sweet adventure? If you are someone who likes creative art, what is your focus? Is it making physical artwork or making digital pixels? When I was growing up, I wanted to create pictures that moved, which turned out to be animation. I would spend hours watching cartoons and animated movies, wondering how they did it. I remember watching VHSs all the way to the end to see the behind the scenes on how everything was made. Main reason why I like DVDs instead of streaming services. However, I didn't think I could do it because a creative career seemed to be the wrong choice in my family. Well, that's okay because it's never too late to start your art dream of becoming an animator. I will say something good that has come from the internet is how you can improve your skills by looking at informative videos. And the best way I saw animators improve is creating animated memes. If you are someone who enjoys seeing the process or just like seeing someone struggle, why not consider subscribing and liking the video? I plan on showing some of my process videos every once in a while when it comes to animation. Though this is not my first animation, I can say that this was my first attempt at really learning how to make it by using a reference. Thanks to Silmaru, an animator on YouTube, I was able to find the keyframes to start the process. I'm still getting used to digital art on my tablet. I just got a X Pen Artist 12 in 2020, so I sketched my keyframes on paper in my small sketchbook. I then import the photo into my Clip Studio Paint and began the fixing process. I needed them to be on the same level, so I moved them around because I also wanted them ready for an illustration. I didn't change much because I was going to use the middle head as a main reference, then draw and copy some elements from the others. I didn't record all the line art, but still wanted to show you what I did. Once done, I would copy the line art, which are all done on vector layers, and paste them into the main piece of my illustration. The illustration was also made, so it was easier for me to see what I needed to draw for the animation. See, I learned from a tutorial from Clip Studio Paint taught by Zenren. Playlist in my favorites in the description below. He taught me that every movement would be good in their own folders. And if you were paying attention to my paper sketch, I had mapped out a few photos that I might need. Crazy thing is, I needed a lot more. Anyway, once pasting the liner in, I put the sketch of what everything else was going to be. I would like you to keep in mind this part is actually fully lined because I didn't think I was going to record my process at the time. But I got so excited when I was finishing the last part of the animation, I thought why not record the last bit. I started with how I wanted the faces to face in each position, then drew in the clothes. Hair came next, then the eyes, and Brick's eyes. I needed to fix him at some point. Though I'm showing it out of order, I did the clothing, hair, eyes, and mouth next. Again, since these were on vector layers, I was able to move and change the lines without any problems. When I did my original animations, I put them on regular layers and had to painfully redraw the lines every time. So this was way easier than last time. Now, as I said, I was actually working on the illustration and the animation at the same time in order to keep track of what I was doing. The body and the clothes were the first worked out since the rodeo boys all wear the same thing. That also includes the arm movements because they were moving separately from the body. Then I worked on the hair because it was the most stable. I have to warn you, if you watched any of the progress as I was showing it on my social medias, Boomer was the poster child. However, I think I had the most mistakes with him. Since I did him first, I didn't think about the movement of the hair going backwards and just did his side to side, which kind of screwed his animation up in my eyes. Sorry, Boomer. After the hair, I moved on to the eyes, which I actually recorded for Butch. I had already mapped out Boomer and Brick's animations at this point, so I had some reference to how I wanted the eyes to move. I used Brick's eye position mainly since I actually had the head motion I wanted. and I used it to see the keyframes on the main points I needed to hit. I don't know if this was the best way to go about it, since I felt like I had a bit of a timing issue, but it did make the process easier. Once I got those down, I would work on in-betweening. If you know the 12 animation principles, I was working on straight ahead and pose to pose. I would sometimes turn off and on the onion skin to help me picture what was supposed to be happening. I don't think I added extras or breakdown positions, however, which again would have helped to smooth the animation. I will work on that. I would work usually on the beginning part of the eye movement, sometime mapping the second main ones forward, then working on the ones that would go to the next keyframe. It helped me try to push or see the movement a lot better. Again, I'm still new to everything, but I hope this shows people that have stopped themselves from trying to actually try it for themselves. Also, does anyone have any tips for me? I have a playlist for just animation help, but I feel like people have strategies to understand how animation works, and it doesn't always work for one person. I definitely need all the help I can get. Okay, back to the process. Since the animation is a loop, I had to draw about 13 or so frames, then at least let it cycle 4 times to see the flaws. I made a mistake on the hair part that wasn't working with the others, which luckily was an easy fix. I'm sure this is why there are many artists on a team to get animation done right. After that, I worked on the mouth movements. It was probably the easiest part since the frame isn't changing, but it is still moving. I just transformed and slid the mouth to where it felt right. I think Butch's mouth was the easiest to move and Brick was the hardest. I do think there were some parts that needed to be fixed on the red ruff. Once officially done with the line art, I went through all of the folders labeled with Brick's name and fixed anything that wasn't looking right. I didn't want to have to go through the coloring stage and see too many mistakes, because at that point, it's nearly impossible to fix. I would either erase lines I didn't need anymore or move lines that were out of place. Afterwards, it was time to work on color. I actually had the colors of the Rowdy Rough Boys in a color sheet because I used to still draw the Powerpuff Girls and Rowdy Rough Boys all the time. Since I decided not to add shading, I put the colors in one folder. I do the overlay color that will act as a way to fill the small pieces better. I usually use a texture brush for line art, which I forget has a way of showing the underlay color. I think after a while I remembered this quirk and tried to clean it up, but later decided to work with it. Do you guys have a favorite part of the animation process? Even with illustrations, line art tends to be my favorite part, but coloring always has this love and hate relationship. I think it's because I feel like the coloring is the part I struggle with the most in my art, which really sucks. Colors and blending are another good way to show people your skill level, so I need to improve that. So the way I learned how to do coloring and animation is just to work with one color first, then move on to the next. It makes it easier to catch what you missed. It's pretty straightforward after that, so I will skip on to the background. In my finished illustration, I used the colors magenta, a peachy coral color, and an orange. At first, I didn't know how I was going to make it change, but I figured using the color gradient tool like before would work. I would move it from side to side, scale it up in order to make the transition. The first time it had too many frames and made my eyes feel weird, so I cut out some of the frames to make it easier for everyone. I think I got it okay. At the end, I think I saved it as a GIF, which probably wasn't the best idea. Usually GIFs lower the quality of the image, but at the time I think I was just trying to be quick. This took me about a week or two to get it all done, and it was only a few seconds long. Again, I knew it was going to take some time, so I wasn't surprised, but I should have saved it as a movie or individual images to make it look nicer. Still, I am proud of myself for trying, and I hope to continue improving as time goes by. Hopefully that wasn't too painful to sit through. I would love to hear your opinions down below though, good or bad. But until then, keep moving forward, my little dots. Your sugary journey is arising.